What does it take for a relationship to work?
Loyalty, communication and honesty will never go wrong. When I was 18 and I used to tell my dad that I put up event where I put up sound, light and stage, my dad would come and tell me that you're a DJ wal. From my events business, I knew how to deal with people. But what would work or what should be his pricing or what should I say yes to or what should I say no to, I think it's been a learning journey. From the investment that the platform did in Taza Khabar, I think that was a great deal that we did there. There are of course funded production houses who would still want to make it themselves and then license it. In March of 2018, I closed 6 brand deals for Bhuvan, a 1-year long endorsements, and since then till date Bhuvan is sold out.
Bhuvan Bam is India's legit first creator turned star. In today's episode, we have Rohit Raj, who's the co-founder of BBQ Wines Production along with Bhuvan and has been a pivotal man in shaping Bhuvan's prominence to where he is today. In today's episode, we talk about why Rohit just stuck to one talent, which is Bhuvan, and didn't open up a talent agency, which is what most people do. The new brands that they're launching in sexual wellness. The final thing which we also talk about is owning the IP with Dhindora, Taza Khabar, which was commissioned for an OTT. That and more. This is Hustle for Fame, and I'm Anirudh. So we have Rohit with us. Hi Rohit, thank you for coming here. And so I want to start by asking, you started RSVP when you were in school. You did Khichdi. Then Rohit Raj events, you managed a couple of singers. Then BBQ Wines, now production house. All this while you wanted to create a business, right? So when I look at it from far, it seems like you're a serial entrepreneur trying to build multiple businesses. What are those nuances about businesses that you think from your personal point of view has changed over all these years? I think it's a decade and a half now, right?
Yeah, no, it's just been a decade.
Okay.
I think it'll be 11 years now. But what has changed? Initially, I used to take a lot of risks. Initially, I used to also feel ki dekhi jayegi, ho jayega, we'll figure it out. Now, because there are so many people who are attached to the kind of stuff that I do, I need to be double sure of what I'm doing. I think that has changed. Earlier, it was just me. I was pretty frivolous. I was really young. When we started RSVP, it was just for the spirit of it. Just 5 friends coming together, doing some random stuff out of school. Events and all were, of course, for passion. And now what I do is a more responsible job because there is somebody's career at hand that I need to take care of. And on the other hand, also expand something that we've started, something that we believe in, plus which also helps a lot of people get some sort of daily bread, right? So whatever decisions I make today, they're mostly relatively better planned, less risk, and safer than what it was 11 years back.
So is it just age or experience, or what would you attribute this change to?
I think that's, it's responsibility. The fact that I've of course grown older than how I was then. The money at stake then was relatively lesser than it is now. The number of people attached to it then were lesser than it is now. So I think the responsibility of looking after all these factors, I think, has sort of brought that change in.
Got it. So the other thing that you've mentioned is when in school your principal called you and said, hey, you know what, Rohit, you manage Technomania. And you said that set you up for success. In what ways?
Yeah, that was awesome because now they've changed the name of that yearly tech fest. They call it Nexus. I guess they got it Nexus now. But when I started that, there was no blueprint to it. And I also don't really come from that whole tech computer. I wouldn't be participating in these, sort of competitions. But I was organizing it. And there were about 400 participants. But to manage those 400 participants, we had a list of 200 volunteers.
Oh, wow.
That's because everybody in the school wanted to sort of be a part of this event. And I think there was no glitch in the entire show. If we would have had our health watches on us, we would have all walked close to about 20,000 steps that day. But then that day when I realized that I was able to manage 200 people, and those 200 people could then go ahead and manage 400 guests, right? Because these are not your in school folks. These are your guests from other schools who you have to take care of really well. And all the other VIPs, the guests, the judges, etc. Whoever were coming, I think that one day and the entire prep that we did for that one day to happen sort of gave me that feeling that I can do this, just managing events.
Great. So right after this, you said you were able to spot a trend of day jams and parties, and you started your event piece,
Yeah.
right? I want to understand, what does it take for someone to spot a trend, and how do you capitalize on trends? Because you've been in this space for a while now, which is a decade, and you've spotted multiple trends, and you've been ahead of the curve. So what does it take for someone to spot a trend?
Yeah, I don't think I've been ahead of the curve. I've sort of been, other than BBQ Wines, of course, and that also is attributed to Bhuvan. But beyond that, I feel I've just, one, gone with the flow. Two, I feel that today we have so much exposure. We have sources like Facebook, Meta, your Instagram, LinkedIn, where you can really find what your calling is. When those day jams were happening, I was seeing other people doing it. And initially I did that and my friends did it because we wanted to be the cool group of that school, right? Or of that city. But once I started doing that, and I used to stand next to the DJ or the artist performing, and I used to feel really good that there are 200 people dancing, right? And they're all having fun, and the entire next 2 days is going to be talk. The
And
chatter
I'm
is going to be,
responsible for that.
I'm responsible for it, and I get all the chatter in. Everybody's coming and sort of appreciating the party, or they're sending me long texts and all that. There's the whole chatter for the next 2 days in the school is going to be about that. So I did it. We all did it for the quick fame that we would get. But I think once I did it, I realized कि चलो ये interesting है. It is something that I can probably pursue as a weekend hobby, right, while I'm in my college, and it doesn't really disrupt. It also helps me make a bigger network. There was a time when I used to send close to about 800 messages a day, which
Wow.
was about this party that I used to throw every Saturday, and you would only get 700 free messages in those times. So I used to have 2 phones. I had to end up requesting my dad ki please buy me a BBM. It's very nice of him to buy it for me, because party messages were going out on those BBM text messages, and I never had it. And just to fit into that whole community, I started doing it, and I thought ki chalo kar lete hain. I think that sort of made me realize कि ठीक है, I just want to entertain people, and all of what I've done in the next 10 years has been just entertaining people.
Correct.
So when you see on the internet that YouTube is booming, and YouTube creators are going to be the next big thing, I ended up indulging in with a YouTuber. Then I realized that OTT is coming into play. We could do something. This is something that probably will solve our purpose. We ended up indulging in an OTT show. Before that, when I was doing those day jams, I realized that these students can help me get a college show event that I could organize at their festival. So I did that. Once I was doing that, I realized that if I could manage the artist that I was trying to sort of put together for this festival, then I will have a bigger pie of
Correct.
that, the bigger piece of that pie. So why not manage them? So I did that as well. And that's how I met Bhuvan. So it's been all connected. And I feel I've not been ahead of the curve, but I've just been going on with the flow with things that I like. And I feel today people can just be on the internet. People can talk to so many people and understand कि जो उनकी calling है, they can sort of indulge in things like that. And there are so many mediums to sort of enhance it, better it, monetize it, and then things follow. तभी आप देखते हो ना, nowadays when I graduated from school, everybody wanted to be an architect or an engineer or a doctor, or they wanted to go to Delhi University. There were very few people who wanted to go in the field of arts,
Correct.
or entertainment. But today everybody wants to be a creator.
Yeah.
Today-
YouTuber, Instagrammer.
Yeah. Today, everybody wants to give it a try. Even 50-year-old people are now going ahead and giving it a try. So, I think it's the exposure that will help us and our next generation to sort of find such calling.
Lovely. So you mentioned about managing multiple other creators, right? Which is singers. You've managed Hadi Sandhu and Nikhil D'Souza, folks like that. Then you're also managing Bhuvan parallelly at that point in time. So if I were to say that there are two routes you could have taken, right? One is set up an agency because you're already managing a list of talents and head that agency, or stick to one particular talent, which is what you did with Bhuvan, where all eggs in one basket, which is contrary to the conventional advice, right? So how did you arrive at the decision? I'm sure you would have thought this through.
No, so this is a mix of timelines. When I used to manage shows with Hardy Sandhu or Nikhil D'Souza or Badsha Bhai or Yo-Yo Honey Singh or even Raftar Bhai, that used to happen when I was an event manager.
Okay.
So a college would hire me for me to put together the stage sound light, security, some sort of tent work, logistics, etc., which is a third party person's job. And while that stage sound light is put up, I have to also manage an artist as a third party, like as the event manager for the college, to hire an artist from the management that is represented, that represents them, right?
Sure.
So I never used to hands-on manage Hardy or Hardy Bhai or Raftar or Badsha or Yo-Yo Honey Singh, all of these legends. I used to just manage one of their shows.
Okay.
But few of them found such good, I mean, I've made such great relationship with some of these that I used to do multiple of their shows. But then I started managing music bands.
Okay.
And these bands were younger folks who had now come together to sort of make a living by performing music. And I know when I was 18 and I used to tell my dad that I put up a event where I put up sound, light and stage, my dad would come and tell me that you're a DJ wala. So I'm sure a singer or a guitarist or a drummer के parents भी उनको seriously नहीं लेंगे.
Correct.
When they say that this is going to be my career, my profession. So we started a small company, a boutique company called Artist Aadmi, where we used to represent Delhi-based music bands.
Oh, wow.
And these were 7 of them. One of them is a really popular beatboxer who's won the India's Got Talent, represented India at America's Got Talent. He's called DVK, Divyansh Kacholia. Along with that, we had Nox Artist, who was a big YouTuber. Then we used to manage 2 bands from Delhi called Agastya and Sankraman. And this was happening in parallel when Bhuvan had just started out.
Okay.
So when I started managing those bands, the company's criteria was how do we make them earn 30 to 60,000 rupees a month on an average, so that income is equivalent of their engineering job, right? What they would have got post engineering, they should get the same amount of money from playing music.
Correct.
So that was our goal there, and then Bhuvan happened. And when you look at Bhuvan and you look at the content, when you meet him, when you know the person, you will realize that he is. I feel that he's a great investment for me. From day one, I've been looking at him as a great investment because I feel if I put and focus all my energies on one person who is multifaceted, can write, sing, act, dance, direct, produce, so he can do so much. Why not just put all my focus on this one person, on this one entity, run it, because any which way he will need somebody to do business because he's the creative guy. Even if I love doing business, I will still need a creative guy. So if the both of us can come together and do this together, then the both of us will flourish. If I end up, and since because I've been managing Bhuvan for the last 8 years or 7 years now, rather 8 years, but I personally feel कि उस टाइम पे तो बहुत लोगों ने मुझे बोला कि आप मुझे मैनेज कर लो, why don't you manage us as well? I would have made a lot of money, but I feel that whole loyalty that I have towards Bhuvan, the brand BBQ Wines, the kind of camaraderie the both of us share, the kind of voice that both of us have in the company, that kind of relationship I don't think I'll be able to, touch wood, be able to replicate. right? And I don't want to run an agency. I don't want to be an agent. If you watch The Entourage,
Correct.
I don't want to be Ari. I want to be E, right? I like being E. So even if when I used to run an agency, I used to still be E to them, right? So I think one E can only service one whatever the what was the hero's name? क्या नाम था उसका? Okay, so we'll cut this and I'll just say कि one E can manage only one artist. Same way I can only manage Bhuvan. I want to focus everything because I can grow and expand vertically and in longitude also along with Bhuvan in so many verticals. We have multiple products coming up which are going to be D2C. We've started the production company. There's of course Bhuvan runs a merchandise brand. Bhuvan as an actor of course works. Bhuvan as a creator of course works. The channel and then the distribution is there. There is so much that I can do around one creator.
Yeah.
And why indulge with so many?
So, good that you mentioned that, right? So, Bhuvan in a sense is one of the first individual creators to come out in this community, and there was no playbook.
Yeah.
Similarly, how there was no playbook for Technofest.
Yeah.
This again, you did not have a playbook.
Yeah.
How did you crack this? Because there's a 0 to 1, 1 to 10, 100. I mean, it's massive, right? So,
Yeah, इसमें तो I feel even I ask the same question to myself. कि how did I do it? I think, because even I go into a spiral when I think about it. When I was doing the school event, of course, it was less stakes. At that time, it of course felt a big burden, but it was something that I wished to do, right? When you wish to do something, you make it happen. Same as with Bhuvan, I think from my events business, I knew how to sort of deal with people. So dealing came in easy, but what would work or what should he command and what should be his pricing or what should be his positioning or what should I say yes to or what should I say no to? I think it's been a learning sort of journey. We've done some outstanding work, and I think with the kind of people I've met, I've learned a lot. But of course, after facing troubles, right? Like after realizing that you made a mistake here. But touch wood, the journey has been good. I still don't know. To answer your question, I still don't know how did I do it because I was going with the flow and things were coming our way. Of course, it was the both of us discussing and chatting and me sort of trying to play the punt, thinking कि चलो देखी जाएगी, मना कर देंगे तो मना कर देंगे, मांग लेते हैं इतना पैसा या ये हाँ कह देते हैं. Yeah, once when Bhuvan signed his first endorsement, there was an offer from an existing brand. I just doubled that offer, doubled the deliverables. I took it to another brand, and they said yes in 4 hours. So all of these were, I think, just sort of gambles, some sort of gamble that we played, and it worked for us. I think we were lucky. But most of these things, I think, just a lot of discussion with people. A lot of mulling over things, being very honest with your partners. So if you're honest, if you're truthful, even if who you're dealing with will not really screw up with you, right? So जितने लोगों से भी मैंने काम किया, I've tried to sort of have a good relationship beyond work, beyond that deal, so that nobody shortchange us. And we also try to be as honest as possible, so that we don't shortchange anybody. So I think this has been quite some ingredient of how we've been doing at least I've been doing my work.
So I see you as one interesting person because you put all your eggs in one basket with Bhuvan, and most of the relationships, by the way in which we talk, I understand are long term for you, right? Same is the case with your marriage as well. You were in a relationship for 10 plus years and then you got married. So all this aside, for any relationship in terms of longevity, be it with Bhuvan or again friends, work, family, love life, what does it take for a relationship to work?
Yeah, loyalty, like I said, loyalty, communication and honesty. These 3 things, it will never go wrong. You learn that from your parents, right? Why does your relationship with your parents last the longest? It does because you are honest to them. A few people are not, right? And there are phases with everybody when they are not. But you realize it when you come around it. I realized it pretty early But and if you are watching this, you must also realize that just by me telling you, don't come into a situation to learn this. कि आप अपने parents से सच बोलते हो. When everybody tells you the same thing, right? Go tell your parents that the honest truth, right? Like just go tell them the truth. They will figure it out. That is first thing. So be honest. You're loyal to your parents. There's no two way about it. Once you go rogue, you go rogue. I mean, then there is no coming back.
Correct.
But because you're loyal, they will stick with you. And then the third thing being communication. If you won't talk to them, then how will things come around for you, right? So similarly, in a relationship, if it's a romantic sort of a relationship, if you're honest, if you're loyal, and if you're communicating well, I think it'll work. And
How do you handle difficult conversations? Sorry to cut you off, but how do you handle difficult conversations? In communication, that is the most important part of it,
Yeah,
right?
difficult conversation में तो ये होगा ना, agree to disagree, है ना? मतलब अगर if you're loyal to each other, if you're communicating and if you're honest, then you'll agree to disagree. But because you're loyal to each other, you won't go anywhere, right? There'll be no other option for you. If you're communicating, that means that there is still scope for this relationship to survive. Otherwise, जिसको नई relationship रखना है, they can without communicating move on, right?
Walk away, yeah.
And because you're agreeing to disagreeing, there needs to be honesty. Like if you're dishonest and if you're just agreeing with the other person's POV, right?
Just for the sake of it.
Just for the sake of it. It won't work, right? Because it'll get to your head someday or the other and you will burst like a volcano someday, right? So मैं तो ऐसा लग रहा है कि मैं ज्ञान बांट रहा हूँ बहुत अभी, but truth of the matter is कि अगर आप difficult conversation भी होगा, देखो relationship में हमेशा दो लोग, and in today's day and age every relationship is equal, right? And if it is a long lasting relationship for life of sorts, तो दो लोग में से एक दिन किसी को सुनना पड़ेगा, एक दिन किसी को सुनना पड़ेगा, करेक्ट? तो डिफिकल्ट कॉन्वर्जेशन में अग्री टू डिसएग्री करेंगे. आज मैं आपकी सुन लेता हूँ, कल आप मेरी सुन लेना, राइट? और आपको कुछ ना कुछ कभी ना कभी हर रिलेशनशिप में एक फेथ भी होता है कि इफ ही इज सेइंग इट सही होगा, राइट?
करेक्ट.
बी इट इन अ वर्क रिलेशनशिप, बी इट इन अ love relationship, be it in a relationship which you come with when you are born, you need to agree to disagree, but you need to have that chat so that the other person is aware कि सामने वाले का क्या POV है. और दूसरा, अगर like for example, just to give you an example, like for example my wife probably would think of something which is completely different from my POV, right? If she doesn't tell me, I will never know. If she comes and tells me, and I tell her what I feel about it, and we agree to disagree, and we move on from that conversation. But now I know her POV. So the next time I do something around that thing, I will be more cognizant of what she is. Yeah, more aware of what she has told me before. So इसलिए communication. तो वो ये deals में भी होता है. Like if you close a deal with any of your partners, even if it's a one-off standalone deal, even if it's a endorsement, or if I'm making a show with somebody, I think it's communication, right? If you don't cheat with anybody, because communication में भी आप झूठ बोल देते हो, that is cheating. झूठ मत बोलो, नहीं मालूम मना कर दो. Like half the times how I've been living the last 7-8 years, I very honestly I go and ask him, मुझे तो नहीं आता ये, I don't know how to do this, can you please tell me? Right? ऐसा भी नहीं है कि I'm super dumb, but I have few things I wouldn't know, right?
Correct.
New territories.
Not everybody knows everything.
Yeah.
Correct.
So I'm very honest. I go and tell them कि मुझे नहीं आता, आप बता दो. That is communication. And honesty है कि मैंने बता दिया, मैंने ये बोल दिया उस चीज़ को. और loyalty तो projects में ऐसी होती है कि because people have signed up on it, they've signed those contracts, their intent is in the right place. So naturally loyalty is there for another year. My director is going to work with me only, right? Or my writer is only going to work with me. So loyalty तो है ही.
Correct.
So these three things I think सही है.
Lovely. So while we are talking about communication, the other thing that is very prevalent in the space that we are in is a negotiation, right? The common parlance is that, oh, you know what, negotiate hard. You win, the other side should lose. How do you look at this?
So I mean, it depends on the product that you're selling, right? When I sell a band which has just formed about 6 months back, and today they need to prove it to their parents, or they need to pay their credit card bills, then I will not negotiate. I will close the deal as is. Because I want money on the table. They are sitting idle at home. Right? Why not go and sing somewhere and make that money?
Got it.
But when I'm selling a product that is super confident, super exclusive, heavy on the pocket for the client, then I will keep that, my approach in that conversation will be relatively very different. And I don't really negotiate because personally, I feel when you're negotiating with somebody, and at times it gets down to such petty conversation that the forthcoming relationship, the journey that I will probably have with that person the next 2-3 days, 2-3 months, 2-3 years will sort of be tainted.
And transactional in some.
Yeah, because that first instance is the first set of conversation that we have had is about negotiating money. And I feel in the field that we are in, which is of creatives and art and all that, there is no price tag to all this. And there shouldn't be any negotiation. Like when I'm working as a producer, I hate negotiating. Though I'm losing out money from my own pocket.
Correct. That's what I was about to ask. Yeah.
So, but I hate it. I hate it because I'm buying somebody's time. I'm buying somebody's skill. I also know these guys are better than the others, which is why they're a part of my project. I also want 100% intent. Only then my show is going to flourish. Then why should I negotiate with this person?
Got it.
Right? So I have my business partner and my team member who sort of have budgets in place and they negotiate with these guys. But personally, the few people who I have to sort of close on or speak with about money, I don't like negotiating. I hate it because money can't value an artist, right? And my negotiation will only make me feel this whole I win, that person lost, all of that. I hate it. क्योंकि मैं तो ये 1-2 बारी काम करने नहीं आया हूँ. तो मुझे कोई कम भी देता है ना पैसे मैं ले लेता हूँ. मैं बोलता हूँ आपको आज कम दे दो कल मैं तो ले ही लूँगा आपसे ज़्यादा. You know, so I have that confidence कि I will get what I deserve, and I hope I am able to give what other people deserve. So I hate negotiating, and like I said, in a few cases when I'm representing a product which is relatively more confident, more exclusive, one of a kind, my approach is this is what I'll charge you, take it or leave it, please. Don't negotiate with me. You give me an offer, if that works for me, I'll say yes. If not, then I'll say tata. Sorry.
Got it. So again, when it comes to money, Bhuvan started his merchandising when he was around 2.5 million.
Yeah.
How did you decide that, you know what, this is the magic number where I'm going to start my merchandising?
Yeah, I'm not a part of the, which is why I'm interrupting. I'm not a part of the merchandising business, and I was there in the system then, but I wasn't a part of the in the process of making the merchandise.
Sure.
So I wouldn't probably know about it.
Got it.
Yeah, I think there was no thought behind it. ऐसे ही बना दिया कि कर लेते हैं.
Acha. Got it.
I was not a part of it, so I shouldn't be commenting over it.
Sure. Fair. The other thing, right? I think this I found very fascinating, and for me, this is the cultural barometer of whether an influencer has taken off or not. Which is you become a part of meme templates. You are a meme template, right? You become a part of pop culture. When was the first time you really say, you know, yeah, we are a part of a memes and they're sending it to us? How did it feel for the first time?
Yeah, I still don't know if how does it feel. Of course, Bhuvan and I, when we started working, before that only is one of his videos had gone viral like how, and other shorter videos of his were going like were being posted on some meme pages and going through pen drives and WhatsApp messages here and there. So I'm sure he would have felt exhilarated. Even today, when somebody takes a screenshot of me or my name and shares it on family WhatsApp group, of course it feels great. When I end up being at some airport in some city and somebody comes and meets me, I feel great about it, of course. But ये जो memification मेरा नहीं हुआ है, so I'm still very new to this.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. The other part, right? So you're saying about how you built a business with Bhuvan from scratch till now, and no playbook per se. I'm sure you would have had a plan. So from where you started till now, do you think it met your expectation or exceeded it?
Yeah, I mean, I never had such expectations, honestly. Our idea when we started doing this was the 3 month goal. कि next 3 महीने में क्या करना है is our goal. Because I feel the kind of platform that we were on and we are still on is very dynamic. The world that we are in is very dynamic. Life's been changing every 3 to 6 months, and because our turnaround for a video also used to be about 2 weeks.
Oh wow.
Right, so and a brand deal used to get closed in a day, and our turnaround for that used to be 4 days. Right, so everything was so like skimmed and cozy कि हम लोग ज़्यादा लंबा प्लान नहीं करते थे. We used to do 3 to 6 months plans, and initially he was like, I want to reach so many subscribers and I want to do so many videos, and only then I want to do brands. Then brands came in. Few months we did brands, and he said next 6 months we won't do brands. So I said okay, I will do everything as per you.
And why was that?
Because he wanted to stay true to his audience. He did not want to feel like sold out, right? He was booming like how everybody wanted to partner with him. So brands coming his way was very easy. He just said, I've done so much of it in the first 4 months that I want to take a break. Do it maybe 4 to 6 months from now. That's when we sort of indulged in a music video. He said, of course, he's a singer-songwriter, so we made a music video for him. Then the goal was, how do we grow this number, become the biggest independent YouTube channel in the country. So that was our first goal. So uske liye he was working towards it. We used to do a little zing bang around the content that he used to do. Post that we realized कि चलो अब ये हो गया, ये audience भी आ गई है, content भी खूब बना दिया है, तो let's make more music. So we released about 3 to 4 music videos in a year. And then while that was happening, then the whole race to 10 million subscribers started. कि हमें इंडिया का पहला डायमंड बटन लेके आना है. When that happened, we met our friend Guneet, and out of that we made a short film Plus Minus that released on our channel post we hit 10 million subscribers. When we did that, we went to LA, we met the senior folks at YouTube, and we said that we've been shooting on a Google Pixel. We wish to shoot an entire movie with these characters on a Pixel. They were pretty pumped about it. They were bringing a new sort of model to India. We took a year to revert to them, but then eventually came up with the idea of making Dhindora. So that was something that Bhuvan and I had discussed internally, that the first thing that we will do, we won't do an OTT show, we won't do a film, we'll not do anything. We'll do something which is specific to YouTube, which is specific to BBQ Wines, but better than whatever we've done in the past. Which is how Dhindora came into play. And when Dhindora came into play, we started shooting, and COVID hit. When COVID hit, we were and now because we were writing Dhindora, we had a bigger team, we were writing with more experienced folks. Those guys narrated us Taza Khabar.
Okay.
And right in the middle of the lockdown, I ended up approaching these platforms, and I said, this is the show that I wish to make with Bhuvan. Would you be keen?
For Taza Khabar?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they all said yes, and we chose one, and Taza Khabar 1 came into play. So ऐसा हुआ. So first Dhindora, because we knew that Dhindora is on the floors. We knew that it'll sort of see the day of light. So let's move on to Taza Khabar so that we can do 2 things while we are not working and not on the field. And yeah, process one by one ऐसा हो गया. There was no plan, like I said. It was a 6 months to 1 year long plan.
So if it was a 3 month, 6 month sort of a plan, did you have sales targets back then? Or
No,
now?
never.
Even now?
Never.
Oh, lovely.
There are no sales targets. You can't do this business with sales targets, yeah. And sales targets are needed for people who have a big company, like a big organization, people who have a lot of expenses. I personally now have a lot of expenses, but I feel Bhuvan doesn't have expenses as much. Since the beginning, we were living with our parents. Expenses were pretty, like, very, very skimmed. We never went around splurging money. So there was never a target to make any money, which was the nicest thing in our relationship, right? Ki Bhuvan never told me I want to make so much money. We used to find goals for ourselves. कि अभी घर खरीदना है पहले, तो हमने कोशिश की कि हम कैसे घर खरीदें. On my hand, I had कि मुझे I was very frivolous. I bought a car when I was 21, so I had to pay that loan. कि मुझे इसका लोन पे करना है. या मुझे अपने मॉम डैड के लिए घर खरीदना है, यू नो, थिंग्स लाइक दैट. दिस छोटे गोल्स, बट वो छोटे गोल्स भी हम तब रखते थे जब हमारे पास monthly we knew that this much money we've already saved, we've already made. The only expenses that we did were the music videos that we ended up producing, because we don't make money from music. Otherwise, there were only very small short-term goals. Ki abhi 6 months hai, I know IPL is around, I know Diwali is around, I know. And this was also only till 2017.
Okay.
In March of 2018, I closed 6 brand deals for Bhuvan, which were 1-year-long endorsements, and these were not only going to get content from Bhuvan, but they were also going to click content with Bhuvan.
Okay.
And paint the entire country around it, right? Like have hoardings, print ads, make video ads, all of that. And such good brands, Lenskart, Arctic Fox, Mivi, there was Tasty Treats that Future Group used to own. There was Tissot. So all these group of brands we closed in March of 2018 when Bhuvan had 6 odd million subscribers, and since then till date Bhuvan is sold out.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so there are no.
That's a good place to be in.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, touch wood.
Yeah.
So which is why we don't really have sales targets.
Lovely. You brought up Dhindora, right? So with Dhindora and Taza Khabar, Dhindora is your own IP, while Taza Khabar is not.
Yeah.
So for the ones that are watching, what is, again, to understand how an IP works, what are the things that you can do with a Dhindora that you cannot do with a Taza Khabar? As
Yeah,
BBK.
I can't do anything with Taza Khabar. I can only make a Taza Khabar 3, 4, 5, 6 when Disney Plus Hotstar asks us to make that. Otherwise, everything is Disney Plus Hotstars, and we are just creators of the show. We don't own it because the IP is theirs. In case of Dhindora, because Bhuvan owns BBK Wines, Bhuvan owns those characters. We also have a trademark registered for T2 Mama. We also have a merchandise brand. We've licensed T2 Mama's voice to a platform. All of that. We can do so much with Dhindora. We can make a film. We can make comics. We can make a game. We can make better merchandise. We can make bags. We can have skins. We can do so much. We can do wardrobe, everything. With Taza Khabar, I will need the platform's permission, and or maybe we'll have to partner with them to maybe make a film. So it could be a JioStar presents Taza Khabar as a film.
Okay.
The good part is that the relationship between the platform and us is so good. Bhuvan's such an integral part of the show. Abbas and Hussain, our writers, Abbas Bhai, Hussain Bhai, they are such integral part of the show. It's their father's story. So they are the creators, right? They can't take away the 4 of us out of the mix. So whenever they want, hopefully they will want, but whenever they want, they will reach out to us, and we can make something together with them. But Dhindora doesn't stop me from doing anything with it, right? I can make ads with it. I can license that Dhindora to an airline. I can license it to a Netflix. I can take it down maybe. I can do whatever. So which is where we own the IP. In case of when we are doing a commission show, the IP is of the platform, and they just tell us to make the show for them. It's like your own baby, just hand it over to somebody else.
So let's not take specific cases, right? In
Yeah.
your case, it's not Dhindora or Taza Khabar. We'll park that aside. But for genuine curiosity, I'm asking, which one is more profitable for anybody? Let's not take this case, but again, out of 10 things that happen via a commission show versus 10 things that you own an IP, which one makes more monetary sense?
Yeah, I think you don't look at projects from just monetary outcomes or for monetary gains, because like I found a great home for Taza Khabar at Hotstar.
Hotstar, correct.
Right? I would have never gotten an OTT platform which is anywhere. No other platform is close to YouTube with the kind of monthly
Correct.
active users these guys had. So going to a platform, them investing such big monies in the show, everybody who's working on the project is taking home money. We are all bootstrapped. We are not invested, so we are also not losing money on the project. That is a more safer and more calculated sort of a move, because I know once I've made Taza Khabar 1 for the platform, I will end up doing the sequel and the other seasons with the same platform. With Dhindora or with BBQ Wines or with licensing, that is going to be more profitable in the longer run, but I have not seen that run.
Sure.
Right? I still make, I mean, T2 Mama was the voice for this show, Takeshi's Castle.
Correct.
Because we own T2 Mama, we own BBQ Wines, we could have done that. We can't do that with a Vasya. Right? I can't make a film with Vasya.
Vasya, yeah.
Right? I can't even make an ad with Vasya. So, from the investment that the platform did in Taza Khabar, I think that was a great deal that we did there. But there are, of course, funded production houses and media companies who would still want to make it themselves and then license it, and then 10 years later maybe license it to somebody else. The whole OTT business is, 6-7 years old in our country. So we don't know what will be the license value of it 10 years down the line. And how many ways will I be able to sort of monetize it. But TVF does it really well. They made Panchayat in Hindi and they licensed it to Amazon Prime Video. And from that, they've made multiple Panchayats in different languages down
Tamil
south.
recent one.
Right, yeah. So I think they have mastered their licensing business in some way or the other. There are a lot of companies who do that. So license business, of course, in the longer scheme of things, you own a lot of asset. You're not just doing service. Your IP is basically your asset. So if you want to get funded, if you want to make more money, if you want to sell some stake, for example, how this whole new production house deal you would have heard of.
Dharma Karma.
Yeah, where they've gotten an investment, right? That is because they own so much of their own content, right? They can do so much out of it. So of course that's asset building when you're licensing a property, when you own the IP yourself. But there are cases for small producers like me where I have to just go and say कि ये आप ले लो, आप बना लो, हम service करके दे देते हैं आपको. So that is a more calculated and a safer way of doing it. But monetarily, I think a license deal will be more profitable in the longer run.
Sure.
But nobody has seen that run
in India,
at least till now.
Great. So again, in your case, you were talking about the licensing part of it, right? What do you think, or what are the other models outside you think have worked well, which can be replicated in India with licensing?
With licensing? Let me think. Your question is that what are the other licensing? Achha, of course, I mean the whole Disney, Marvel, the whole license business is outstanding, right? They sell non-exclusive license to so many companies in our country, right? And similar way they would do it across the globe with the kind of theme parks that they have, with the kind of games that they have, the kind of experiences that they create, with the kind of now media companies that they run and they own. I think all of that has happened because they own asset and they own such impactful asset, right? With all these characters that they've developed, the universes that they've made.
That's a part of your growing up years.
Yeah, and it's so crucial. Like when we started, Disney was what? Mickey Mouse.
Correct.
Right? And today, Mickey Mouse is one of the most passé sort of character out of the entire mix that we speak about on a regular basis. I think what they have done is outstanding with gaming, with, like I said, theme parks, apparel,
toys.
They have a cruise. They have a Disney cruise, right? Disneyland cruise or something. Right? So, कितने सारी चीजें हैं यार, मतलब, and then they make so much money off it. Of course, content and then their licensing and all of that. But just this limited piece is so impactful. I think India can do that. Like how Mirzapur is a licensed property to Amazon, and now they are doing a film out of it. I think that's going to be the first move for any OTT show to become a film. Yeah, let's see how that fares, but I'm pretty excited.
Lovely.
कैसे कुछ ना कुछ होगा कुछ.
And also, going back to the Dhindora versus Taza Khabar piece, right? Was it also because Taza Khabar had a much larger canvas compared to Dhindora that you had to go for a commissioning deal?
That's right. I mean, no, so we don't have that kind of funding, na. All the other shows are also larger than, maybe would be larger than Taza Khabar, and they would need more money to sort of put it all together. But I feel we never had the cash to fund it ourselves and then take it to platforms and say, ki, please watch this and buy this. We also did not have the gall to make it ourselves and then take it to platforms and then do the market round and ask them to buy it. Because one, we know little, but we know better if I have that partner on board from day zero with me and who's working with me on these scripts with me. Plus, it was the first time that we were doing it, right? So we also need to learn a lot of the economics of this business. We were also 25, 26 when we made this show, right? Or when we closed this deal. It was also Bhuvan's first. So I can't take so much pressure at once. Yeah, I wanted to keep it pretty safe. I know I should own the IP of my shows, but I feel I need to also do justice to the property. I can't really just be selfish for the IP. Because your partner also needs to feel ना कि मेरे पास इतने साल के लिए ये show है या मेरे पास perpetuity के लिए ये show है, and how much money would they make, how much money would I make, would they be able to recover the money that they are giving me, all of that. So I thought कि it's all in all seems like a safer conversation to have. Like for example, if I'll make a Dhindora 2 and if I take it to some other platform, my first thing would be I will license
it. Correct.
Whichever way, however I can, but I will just license it because I have limitations there.
Great. So you spoke about understanding the OTT dynamics and you learnt it along the way, right? What are the OTT dynamics? How do
You
they?
don't know. Nobody knows.
No.
Even the OTT people don't know it right now. It's just, I mean, you don't know the audience, right? Like, it's all growing. And this whole 1 year, you would have heard so many things. Mergers falling out,
Correct.
then mergers happening. So many things are happening. So you don't know what's happening in the OTT world. It's just that...
Sorry to break. The reason why I'm asking is when OTT initially came in, right? They splurged money on movies.
That's right.
Big stars, small stars. And the production took into account the fact that, hey, you know what? They're paying me so much. So my profit on table will be so much when I release the film. Over a point in time, that spending stopped. It was no more liberal. It
Correct.
became more conservative,
Correct.
right? How do they demand the supply demand or how do they fix the supply demand pricing of any OTT show that comes out? Show or movie?
Yeah, I think it's been very tricky for at least the Indian market because the subscription rate is pretty low. Also, because of YouTube and Instagram, our retention, our sort of way of living, at least around entertainment, has changed. We personally don't prefer waiting till 9 p.m. to watch a particular show. We don't want to watch programmed content. We want to watch the same show at our own convenience, in our own sort of,
cozy little space.
Yeah, cozy little space in our own setting, and we want to watch it at our own convenience. That's the most important thing. Which is why these OTT platforms sort of came into play. They said कि चलो अब कोई लोग TV कम देख रहे हैं तो शायद यहाँ देख लेंगे. When you are new in the business and all these global giants are coming in and sort of setting foot in our country, you anyway know we are DAU, MAU, cow field, right?
Yeah,
like we get so many
farming.
We they do farming here.
Yeah.
अब यहाँ ऐसा करना है तो यहाँ पे you have to get the biggest person to sort of attract them and buy those subscriptions. क्योंकि subscription खरीदना ही सबसे ज़्यादा important है.
Correct.
One platform does it because they want their shopping platform to become big. One platform does it because that's their only DNA. That's the only thing that they know. One platform does it because they're a big media broadcasting network. The other one does it because they want everything there. They want to make TV plus. They want to run ads. They want to replicate YouTube in a much better way, in a more premium way. So everybody is doing it for their own purpose. अब वो purpose solve करने के लिए तो they will have to get somebody who will bring in subscriptions, or they need to put content which brings in subscriptions, right? Very seldom will your bet on content work in the right manner, in the positive manner, because you never know what
The odds
people
are
would
less,
like.
yeah.
It is a gamble, but with talent. If Salman Khan sir is coming on some platform, people will definitely go and watch it. Good or bad, they will still go and watch it. If a megastar's film is releasing on a certain platform direct, or even after theatres, people will still go and watch it. So I feel that whole initial push, of course, was to bring in all the big talent. But to bring in the big talent, you have to pay the big money. And you know how these advertisers are,
Correct.
or these marketeers are. Initially, they put in all the money that they can. They spoil the market, and now they're all in the course of correction. Because, like I said, initially, nobody has been able to understand the economics of OTT. The whole supply-demand money situation, not everybody has been able to even meet ROIs in the OTT world. They also feel that they are creating a catalog. This is asset building. They will probably make do of it in years to come, but we have not seen that yet. Which is why a lot of these platforms are also turning from SVOD to AVOD. If you would see,
So what is the difference?
AVOD is basically ad video on demand,
Okay.
advertising video on demand, and subscription video on demand.
Okay.
So Netflix, Amazon Prime is SVOD. Amazon MX Player is AVOD. YouTube is AVOD. Right? Now when you go into subscription mode on YouTube is when you are behind the paywall and now you don't see ads.
Got
So
it.
you're an SVOD client for them. So which is why I was saying कि जो लोग subscription platform run करते थे कि आप subscribe करें and then content देखें, वो लोग भी सब they're all moving towards AVOD because they want advertisers. That's where the money will come in from. The subscribers are still paying very less. I mean, I don't think if with the kind of people who watch, I get jitters talking about it. The kind of investment that a OTT show deserves and the kind of money they get from subscribers there's a huge gap in that,
Oh wow.
and it's very disturbing. And 30% of these guys would also go around watch this content on
Twice.
Telegram and
Okay.
Pirate Bay and all these piracy platforms, which is why breaking even is very tricky.
Got it. So when you first started, right, it was a 2-member team, and then right now you've scaled to an organization. How many members do you have now?
BBQ Wines is still a 2-member team.
Okay.
BBQ Wines Productions is maybe a 12 people team. And those 12 में से जो 4-5 लोग हैं, they work remotely and they also work for BBQ Wines. But these are basically our design team. So editor, graphics, analytics, video, different kind of edits, all of that. So that's the team. But BBQ Wines Productions is a tad bit bigger. Like I said, 12 of them, where there is legal, there is production, there is operations, there is logistics, all of that.
So understanding the algorithm is an important part, right? So again, it may not matter for somebody like Bhuvan with his stature, but let's say you want to start another channel. How important is the analytics and how do you navigate through this entire algorithm? Again, it's very dynamic, right? How do you make sense of it?
Yeah, I think because we are on platforms which are very data driven, if you have the hang of it and if you have somebody who can do it for you, or you know it yourself, I think it's a great way of sort of scaling your channel because you know the numbers, now you can sort of play around it. My only concern for the younger creators is that if they get into the whole number game, then the whole fun of creating content will become really tricky for them. They'll miss out on it. Which is why I think initial few years, algo and tricks and tips, all of that should be just limited to the kind of content that you wish to put out. So the content and the ingredient of that content should be very specific to the creator. Now, how do we add that tips and tricks and algo and trend and all of that in that content is something which I think is the right sort of requirement for a growing content creator. कि आप अपने को वो मत करो. Don't do anything wrong with your content. Don't compromise on what you want to tell the world because there is algorithm, because there is some sort of trend going on, because there is analytics. No, please don't do that because you will screw up with your content. You will screw with your audience. It will all look very transactional. It will all look very mechanical. But if you have some voice to say, some content to put forward, and कि ये tips and tricks होते हैं तो मेरा ये video 1.5x better कर सकता है, use it, but put it in the story or in the content that you really wish to tell. Don't just make it because you have those numbers and you have that tips and tricks in front of you.
Okay, got it. So while you were managing Bhuvan, right, so there were multiple phases. Let's say, how was it different managing Bhuvan at different phases? Let's say at 50K, 100K, 1 million, 5 million, 10 million.
Same only, yeah. I think it's not been any different. It's just that more people come and show him more love. More people engage with his content. We know that now with growing numbers. When I met him and we both joined hands was when he had 1 lakh YouTube subscribers. So post that the journey has been the same because his journey has been super exclusive. But today the only thing is that we know that there will be so many people who will kill us if we do anything wrong. That number of people who are just, sort of on our shoulders, sitting, just creating pressure, and those are the same kind of people who will also support us when we do something right. But वो number बढ़ गया है, तो उनका जो एक responsibility है बस वो बहुत ज़्यादा है.
Got it. So that's the only change that you see.
Yeah. I feel responsibility, graduation in terms of the kind of content we tell, graduation in terms of how we engage with the kind of formats that we are sort of dabbling with. Yeah.
Interesting you spoke about graduation. The reason why I'm asking is Bhuvan has graduated across different levels and now you've come to a stage where the OG YouTube channel does not have content for some time now. So is that a graduation level piece, or again, let's say if someone reaches this stage, should it be a case where social media is not something that I'm going to look at daily, but there are other avenues that I'm going to look beyond?
So very, very, very nice question. Basically, when you're investing your time in a project which is relatively longer format, it needs more time. That kind of a project and is heavily invested. I think that project, of course, takes you away from your social media or your YouTube sort of career. And the kind of stuff that Bhuvan does, like both Taza Khabar 1 and 2 has taken away. 2 years Taza Khabar 1 took away from him. 18 months is what Taza Khabar, the recent one, took away from him. So, of course, the kind of involvement that he has in the project is relatively very, very high. Which is why when he goes back on writing a sketch for his YouTube video, he feels that it might be a compromise. He feels that he might be doing it just because he wants to satiate the audience. Which he personally feels is injustice. So he says, if I can take out time, if I can write something which is good enough for everybody, which makes me laugh, and which will not make the people feel that Bhuvan has just done it for the sake of it, is when he really puts out content. It's not that कि YouTube पे video नहीं डालते because अब हम OTT पे आ गए हैं. He and I would kill to put a video on YouTube without a brand, right? Because that's where we all came from. Correct. Right? And we would love to sort of acknowledge the audience and put that video out. That's
why people started relating with Bhuvan.
Yeah, and both of us have that heart to heart every now and then, that how do we streamline this process where you're also engaged in an OTT platform, in an OTT show, but you can put out a video every 2 months or 3 months. But I think you can't automate what he has created.
Correct.
He has to do it himself. For that, he needs a lot of time and peace. Today, he's engaged with so many things that just sitting at home and writing that episode becomes very tricky for him. So the graduation has definitely been from that smaller screen to a bigger screen, or a smaller camera to a bigger camera. But in today's world, we personally wish to engage with everybody through every medium. So be it Instagram stories, Instagram reel, YouTube video, OTT show, or an OTT movie, or a theater.
Any means to reach.
Yeah. वो तो पहुंचना ही है. And easiest is to put out a video on our channel. It doesn't need anything, but it needs to be right.
Fair.
So जब right होगा तो वो कर देगा. तब तक के लिए फिर wait करना पड़ेगा. Because we just don't want to put something for the sake of it. I think that'll be really, really bad.
And it also dilutes the purpose of doing it.
100%. So which is why we always say, and at least I feel that for Bhuvan, that whenever he comes with a bang. So I think waiting and just patiently waiting and just, looking forward to what we are working over is something that one should believe in. And one should also believe in the fact that we are not fooling over. We're not
correct.
just wasting time. We are working towards something almost every day. We can't sleep if we are not working towards something.
And so what is it that you're working towards next?
If I could tell you, I would, but very exciting
Okay.
things. Of course, Dhindora 2 is happening.
Okay, oh, lovely.
The idea is that how can we make it ASAP, also make it right, also scale it up from season 1, scale it up like 4x, not even like 1x, 4x. How can we arrange the finances to make it happen? Because like I said, the whole licensing situation. How can we make it even more funnier, even more interesting and evergreen, because comedy is so tough to write.
Correct.
So that everybody likes it even 10 years later is something that we are aiming at. But yeah, new things are happening. I mean, we are working towards film.
Taza, Dhindora 2 and
Dhindora 2 is happening.
financing Dhindora 2.
Yes. Yeah, we are trying to scale that, scale the whole production value this time, the kind of storytelling this time. We are also, we'll be announcing next week. We have just invested heavily in a sexual pleasure brand. So both Bhuvan and I have invested. Bhuvan's the co-founder of the brand, and we feel that now the time is booming like how, and sexual pleasure, self-pleasure is something which one should be
Embracing it.
yeah, they should embrace it, and they should not look at it as a taboo. And there are so many long distance relationships happening these days. I feel it's a perfect gift. And so we've just invested in Peppy for All. And there's another brand, very cool, that we've been sort of, Bhuvan and I personally bootstrapped, sort of developing. That is in the making. I'll tell you about it more next time.
So I know it's a perfume brand and a luggage brand that's there.
No, luggage is something that we invested in.
Okay.
We invested in Mohammed Bhai's Icon.
Okay.
He's done My Fitness peanut butter before. So his Icon brand is something that Bhuvan and I have invested in. But the perfume brand is something which was under the wraps. But a lot of people are talking about it. So it could be perfume. But yeah, we are working towards something which is very close to us.
But interesting, right? Why choose these 3 categories per se?
So perfume is very cluttered. I feel it's not the smartest move for any D2C founder, but we are doing it because it's really close to us. And we also spent a couple of years with a brand marketing a perfume, so we realized the use case and the need for it. We also see a certain gap that we want to fill in. And I think Bhuvan is just super duper obsessed with perfumes. So why not make our own? And we know the shortcomings of the brands that are already exist that already exist
In the market.
in the market. And we're just trying to, I don't know, we're still not ready with the product. But I'm at least trying to bridge that gap, because the the atmosphere in our country is so different for just consuming perfumes, right? And the global standards are very different. Like we sweat a lot here. There's a lot of heat. We use the public transport like how, and our public transport is not necessarily air conditioned, right? So, which is why we're trying to figure a product which really works for people, has some sort of longevity like Bhuvan does. So yeah, so perfume that's the reason behind doing a perfume. The sexual pleasure brand, the massagers and lubes, etc., I feel is something that I presented the first product of such kind maybe 4 years back, and I had to still get it imported through some random website. But now it's all there, but nobody's out there. I feel it's a market that through quick com, through e-com, it'll get picked up really well. Your the big brands like Durex and Mankind, they're also coming up with their own products. So they see the need in our industry, in our country. We also feel that the product, you just need some source of happiness ना. ये इतना stress हो गया है, हाँ, इतना लोगों के पास इतना anxiety है, stress है, daily का कुछ ना कुछ परेशानी है, और हर किसी के पास तो partners नहीं है. तो I feel you can always get a friend of yours at home which you can keep with you and which will listen to you whenever you want. So yeah, which is why we feel that this category is really exciting. Also because there's a very cool marriage between the product and Bhuvan's characters and Bhuvan's personality. I also feel कि ये product थोड़ा early adapters के लिए भी है. When you start young, you learn young, and I think it can be a way of life. The third one, bags, that was just an investment because of the founder. I have a lot of faith in him, and I feel that the luggage category and everybody around, like people like us, we would want to indulge in newer and cooler brands than going to the typical orthodox brands that prevail in the market. So we just made an investment there. So there was a small check, yeah.
Fair. So again, for the ones that are looking, what are the check boxes a business should tick for BBKV to invest?
भाई नहीं ये सब नहीं बता सकता हूँ मैं. फिर मेरे को बहुत LinkedIn पर मैसेज आएंगे यार. We are not investors, we are not angels, we don't invest, we don't have a lot of money. We just do it once in a while, once in 3 months when somebody reaches out to us. The Peppy deal was supposed to be a brand endorsement, but we loved the founders, we loved the product, we loved the price range that they were in, the kind of storytelling that they were doing. So we thought it was a great mix to also own a part of the company. But we don't do this on a regular basis. We also don't really have any criteria. The only criteria that I have is I want to save my money. I can't let it go into waste. So the only request that the only criteria in my head, the filter that in my head is if my founder will save my money. So that will only happen when the founder has done a couple of businesses before, knows how to exit, knows how the business will sort of flourish, knows the network, etc. And also depends on the kind of money that I'm paying them. So, wo sab dekh ke we do something like this.
Fair. And I think we've come to the end of it. One final question. You were talking about the product, the distribution, and the kind of investments you've made, right? A lot of creator-led brands, or say, creator-led brands, it's a tongue twister, don't take off for some reason, right? And the way in which I look at it is, you've built distribution, but the product is not sorted in some sense. So, what is your take on that?
I think not a lot of creators have done brands which are led by them. A lot of these creator-led brands that we see are also just associations which are a line or a limited MOQ or one
SKUs, yeah.
Or a royalty deal of sorts. But when you look at maybe a tech burner, right? When he did his whole apparel range or the accessories and this whole smartwatch that he has created, he's pretty invested. He launched his watch a month and a half later only because he wanted to work on the UI again. I think a creator-led brand will flourish when the creator is actually leading it. If you think your team will put it together and your face and your content will sort of get you the sales, I don't think that'll happen. A creator-led brand, which I feel is a super success, is this case is Bhuvan's Taza Khabar. Right? It's a brand. Yeah. Taza Khabar is a brand. It's a product that we made and we put it out on through Disney Plus Hotstar to distribute it to millions of people. And it became the third most watched show last year, right? After Anil Kapoor's show, after Shahid Kapoor's show, it was Bhuvan's show. That was only because he was super invested. One in the script, then in the pre-production, then in the shooting period, of course, and then in the production, and then when it released. So he was all around promoting the show left, right, and center so that everybody comes and watches it. So he was pretty invested in it. It's of course not a product like an asset, something that you can sell off a counter, but it's an initiative that you take, which you are super sort of invested in. So a creator-led brand will only flourish when the category might be very different from what you are known for, but you need to show your audience that you are super invested in whatever you are working on. And I feel whatever we've seen in the past, there were very few, but whatever we've seen in the past, we've seen, your co-founders are not as good. Maybe you're not as invested. Maybe the product wasn't thought through. Maybe the content creators' digital footprint has sort of gone down. There are multiple reasons for such situations to occur. But if you're really invested because I feel every content creator should think of creating some asset. Right? These videos are your asset, but they will not sell while you are sleeping. Right? So everybody should think of creating some product out of them. I've seen so many people do such good things in the beauty and fashion space. I'm not very well versed with it, but I've seen so many people do such cool things there. I feel कि अगर आप दिल से करोगे तो it will flourish and you will see a Prime or a Feastables coming out of India. Because सबसे ज़्यादा लोग तो यही है ना.
Correct. Lovely. So I think it was great interacting with you. You were
Thank
such
you.
a sport.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rohit.
Thank you so much.